Money can't, and a lot of, I ain't gonna say no names, but a lot of these people that y'all want me to be with be fake on the low gay, be mentally and physically and verbally.
And I vowed, like, that's why I'm, like, maybe some people would describe me as abrasive or bitchy or whatever, because I vowed from that age, no man would ever call me out my name, treat me like that.
Well, after the allegations about Meek and Diddy indulging in freak-offs together, people are revisiting some of the things Nikki has said about Meek in the past. And the details are way messier than you could ever imagine. What's even crazier is Nikki was reportedly planning to expose everything about Meek in her upcoming documentary, but he sent her a cease and desist before it could be released. The crazy thing about this is that Nikki tried to warn us about this a few years ago when she exposed Meek for being on the DL and putting his hands on her, but no one took her seriously. People were too clouded by their hate for her to even listen to what she was saying. Okay, so as most of y'all know by now, Meek Mill has been getting dragged for filth on social media after he was exposed for being Diddy's freak-off partner. This was put on blast in an explosive $30 million lawsuit filed against Diddy by producer Rodney Jones. Rodney said Diddy coerced him into coming to stay with him so that they could work on his album. However, he ended up seeing some really disturbing things. He claimed Diddy laced his drink and SA'd him several times. Now, this is where things get even messier because Rodney went on to detail how he saw Diddy's sons, Christian and Justin Combs, as well as Meek Mill, Young Miami, and Usher at the parties Diddy organized. He accused Miami of ordering her cousin to perform acts on him while he was barely conscious enough to make her stop. He said he saw Justin and Diddy messing with some of the girls Miami had hired to come to the party, and they were doing some questionable things. He even went as far as accusing Diddy's youngest son, Christian Combs, of drinking and SAing a woman. He then went on to expose Meek Mill and revealed that Diddy personally told him that he had hooked up with Meek Mill and Usher. He said Diddy told him he made Stevie bust it open with the promise of him getting a Grammy. Now, as for Meek and Usher, he didn't explicitly mention their name, but the description he gave about them was more than enough to make us know who he was talking about. He described Meek as the Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj, and hinted at Usher by saying the R&B singer who performed at the Super Bowl and had a successful Vegas residency. The lawsuit stated Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in intimate stuff with rapper and R&B singer and Stevie J. Not only that, but Rodney also accused Meek of hooking up with one of the girls that were at the party. The lawsuit stated rapper Meek on Mr. Combs' yacht consorting with not old girls and adult workers. People were obviously really upset and disgusted when this got released because it proved that Meek was part of this entire thing. Some people immediately started doing a little digging and they found out that Nicki Minaj had actually exposed Meek in the past for these things, but it was brushed off as her being bitter. Back in 2020, she went off on Meek after he liked a shady post about her husband, Kenneth Petty. Someone had photoshopped Kenneth as a mannequin at the Jimmy Jam store, and Meek decided to be petty by liking the post. Mind you, prior to this, Meek had made a diss track about Nicki's husband and even gotten into physical altercation with both Nikki and her husband in a designer store. So she was over it at this point and she decided to go off on him. She started it off by posting pictures of Meek looking pretty zesty on her IG stories and later accused him of notoriously putting his hands on women. She said, "You a clown, you do it for likes. Twitter fingers, women scared of men." Meek Mill responded to this by denying ever putting his hand on any woman and even went as far as bringing the mess involving Nicki's brother. Nikki then went on to expose Meek for physically being aggressive towards his own mother and sister on camera and even spitting on his mom. She said, "You beat your own sister and taped it, spit on her and taped it, kicked me in front of your mother and sent her to the hospital. Sucking Drake D made you feel tough again. Move on." Right after she said this, people started to circulate a video from her unreleased documentary where she was talking about how Meek would make her feel inferior and how he would be aggressive with her.
Oh, like, that's why I'm, like, maybe some people would describe me as abrasive or bitchy or whatever, because I vowed from that age, no man would ever call me out my name, treat me like that. And then all of a sudden, that was my life. Like, I let one human being make me so low that, like, I didn't even remember who I was. I was scared to get in the studio. Like, I didn't believe in myself.
Nikki later jumped on her Queen radio show a few weeks later to respond to people who were telling her that she should have chosen someone who was on her level financially as a husband and not Kenneth. While she was addressing this, she also revealed why she left Meek. However, this time she hinted at him being on the DL and doing freaky things with other men behind the scenes.
He can't, and a lot of, I ain't gonna say no names, but a lot of these people that y'all want me to be with be fake on the low gay, be abusive, mentally and physically and verbally, be having eating disorders. All types of shit.
And just about a year ago, when she was on Live with Soulja Boy, she brought these DL allegations back up again when she randomly asked Soulja if he could name some of the DL rappers in the game. Soulja hesitated, but Nikki says she knows a couple of them and has info about all the things that they've been doing. Immediately, she said this, and a lot of people started to speculate that she was talking about Meekisha. I'm sorry, I meant Meek Mill.
You think it's a lot of undercover brothers in the industry?
Oh no, Queen. We don't know nothing about undercovers. Oh no. We don't know about that.
Okay. Because I do.
You said what?
Oh, I said I do. But my thing is,
what's even worse is that back in 2021, when Nikki announced that she was going to release her documentary on HBO Max, it was rumored that she had receipts in the documentary about some bizarre things that go on in the industry. The documentary was supposed to cover everything she has endured and witnessed since 2015 till date. That included her relationship with Meek and all his affiliates, including Diddy. It was supposed to also cover some details about why she dropped Diddy as her manager just a few months after he managed her at the beginning of her career. Yep, you heard that right. Nikki was managed by Diddy at one point right after her release of her highly successful debut album, Pink Friday, but she dropped him after just a few months and never looked back. At the time, they tried to cover it up by saying she dropped him because he wasn't hands-on in her career, but some people speculated that he probably tried to introduce Nikki to some of the freak-offs he was having, and she left before he could get her all tangled up in that world. Anyway, going back to the documentary, Meek filed a cease and desist against Nikki to remove all contents about him and his affiliates from the documentary. A lot of people found this suspicious because if he truly had nothing to hide, then why was he scared of what Nikki was going to reveal in the documentary? This also explains why she has never released or talked about it much since then. The industry made sure to stop her before she could say anything. However, none of Meek and Diddy's antics worked because they are now getting exposed by their victims and there is nothing they can do to save themselves this time around. As usual, people had their own thoughts about this, like this person who said, Nikki warned us. Now Nikki knows a lot about these industry people who doing strange illegal acts. Another person said, Nicki Minaj has yet to be caught in a lie about anything or anyone. Till the next episode. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about Nikki exposing Meek and Diddy for their dirty dealings? And do you really believe Nikki's documentary was put on hold because she was going to expose Meek's shady past? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.